One of the hardest jobs you'll ever have is being a good parent. Wouldn't it be great if these little ankle biting, snotty nosed terrorists came with the owner's manual? Wouldn't it be wonderful if you knew exactly how to handle every situation and if what you were doing was right? Well, I'm going to share with you a lesson I learned from my daddy. One that I used on my own kids and I believe has some merit. You see, whenever I created an offense that he felt like needed correcting, Daddy would always do the same thing. He'd say, "Bud, I'm going to spank you. Go to your room and think about what you done." Oh, I hated that. You'd be sitting there in a room just knowing it's coming, just the psychological damage was unbelievable. But then he would walk in and he'd do the same thing every time. He'd sit down on the edge of the bed and he'd pat it right beside him and say, "Now, Bud, come sit down. Tell me why you're getting a spanking." "I don't know. I didn't do nothing." And he would keep on until you told him what the offense was, what the mistake was you made. And then he would say the same thing every single time. "Son, I'm spanking you because I love you." And then he would toast them honey buns. When he got done, when you were through kicking and screaming and flailing and whining and crying, he'd take me in his arms. He'd hug me in them big old bare arms and he'd say, "I love you, son." And then he'd leave. When I got older, I learned the method to his madness and I used it with my kids, and hopefully it'll help you. You see, the reason he sent me to his room is so he could cool off. So he wasn't so emotional that he would kill me. You see, his own father was kind of abusive. His own father would fly off the handle and rant and rave and hit and throw, and Daddy swore he'd never be that way. He always made sure I understood what I did wrong. He always made sure that he was spanking me because he loved me. You want to be a good parent? Take a lesson from my daddy. Love on your kids every chance you get. Talk with them. Explain the situation. But be a man of your word. If you tell them you're going to do something, do it. That's a daddy.